Welcome to Nana's Sewing. This month's project is this super cute quilted makeup bag. It's super easy, even if you haven't quilted. So the first step is you're going to cut some heavy duty interfacing. So you've got the pattern in the tutorial and you're going to pin it. You could use clips, but I found that pins work better. And you're going to pin it all the way around. And you're going to need to cut one for your lining and one for your outside lining. Okay, so one for the outside, one for the inside. I'm not going to cut the notch, and you'll see why later on. Okay, so you're going to cut all the way around it. I did fold it, as you can see, so you're only having to cut one and the bottom is folded. So you're going to cut all the way around, then cut another one, and then after I get that done, I'm going to work on the fabric for the outside lining. So they're just 3x3 squares. I went ahead and trimmed everything up so everything was square. If you're not sure how to do that, ask in the Facebook group. And then you're going to cut 3x3 squares. Okay, you're going to need about 3 of each. Now I have mine layered. So if you're newer to sewing and that scares you, just fold one at a time and cut one at a time. Okay, but that's one of the reasons why I love my rotary cutter, is I can cut multiples. So you can see here I'm doing the second set again. Again, we're going to square it up. I love using the rotary cutter. And the quilters will all tell you the same. So you're going to do a 3-inch line of fabric. Okay, so I'm just taking mine in and I'm going to put them all out. I love using this cutting mat because it helps me be able to stay on track and able to measure better. So I'm going to take this out. This is the salvage edge. I'm going to take that off and square everything up again. Okay, then we're going to cut 3 inches across. Okay, so you should in the end have 3x3 squares. Now just a little note here, we didn't have a happy little mistake. And if you don't love the solid on the edges, then you're going to want to cut another 2 sets because you're going to want it longer across. It really was a mistake. But we really love the look at the end where the sides are a solid color and not the squares. Okay, so now comes the fun part. Okay, so now comes the fun part. You're going to need 6 colors. Okay, and just like it says in the tutorial, we laid this out. We kind of knew what the pattern looked like. I don't love making things matchy, everything look uniform, so I offset it just a little bit. And again, if you don't love the happy mistake there, where we need the solid on the sides, you're going to want to add 2 more squares to each row. Okay, so you can see here we kind of off-centered it. I did go ahead and put it on the heavy interfacing just to see how much we needed and kind of figure out the rows here. Sorry. Okay, but you're going to need 5 on each row unless you want it to all with the squares, and then you're going to want to do 7 on each row. And this is a medium-sized bag, so I just like it a little off-centered and kind of stair-step, so you can see that here. I just don't love things matching up. And this was so much fun. You could use charm packs. You could use fat quarters because those colors coordinate really well. We found colors that we liked and got the material actually at Hobby Lobby. And so you can see here, this really is just playing with it and having some fun. Really, truly, just make it your own. I'm actually making these for my granddaughters for Christmas. I'm making each of them a bag. So now that you're going to do is take your squares and finish up just kind of all your pieces here. So now what you're going to do is take your squares and just using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, you're going to go in and sew all of them together. I'm just going to finger press them. That's just using your finger. You can use an iron if that's easier. Totally depends on you. And then you're going to attach. I find it easier to attach 2 sets. So, attach 4 at a time and then attach the final one. And then you just kind of want to look at your pattern. One little trick is to take a picture of your pattern that you love, and then it'll make it easier to see it as you sew. Okay, so again, you're going to do the same thing. You can actually forward me through this, but you need to do every single row. Okay, so just go through and sew every single row and make sure that you finger press this and that you take it to the iron, and then you're going to press your seams open. Okay, so you can see here that I'm doing alternating ones here. So you will have a little bit of excess when you're done, but that's okay. I'm going to iron the seams towards one direction. It just helps with the adhering of the interfacing. It also helps if you iron one direction and then on the second one do the different direction. Okay, so you kind of see that here after I've laid it out. You also can see it's a good time to cut off any excess strings here because once you put the interfacing on, there's no movement. So just kind of make sure you got everything cleaned up. Also, if you didn't catch the edge on any of your seams, it's a good time to fix all of that. So okay, so we're putting these on the interfacing, and you can see, just kind of see here, we kind of realize we've got some spots missing. But what we ended up doing is just doing a solid color down each side. So if you don't love that, just make sure that you add more squares to the end. I would say probably 2 more squares. And then you want to go in and just make sure that you're even on both sides. So that's what I'm doing, taking the ruler and just making sure that I'm even. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pin these just to make life a little easier. But you want to make sure that you are um, that you're staggering those. Okay, that you want to make it even on both sides. And that's one reason why I love the little quilters rulers. They're so easy to use. You don't have to get out a tape measure. They're so precise. They're so easy to use. So you're going to see that we're going to start at the top of each row and make sure you don't run over any of your pins. And again, we're going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So you may see me here lifting up my fabric. That's because I'm making sure that my seams are all facing the direction I want them to go and that it isn't getting caught in that because it makes it harder to put on interfacing. So you're going to do every single set of rows and then we're going to put it all together. You might actually see a little gadget in the back. There's a light that I have on the back and it just helps brighten all the things up so I can see more of what I am doing. Um, Okay, so now I have all my rows, so we're gonna take and we're gonna iron this. Okay, you're gonna wanna push all your seams towards one direction, okay? Isn't this gorgeous? So, so pretty. You could do so many different color combinations. So now you're gonna take this after you iron it, and you're gonna straighten it up because we want it to look like one cohesive piece. And you're just gonna straighten it up. I put it on my cutting mat, um, and just use my quilter's ruler to straighten that up. I love using the quilter's mat and the rotary color because I don't always cut straight. And so you kind of see here, we're putting this together. So, like I said before, like we kind of figured out here that we had a little bit of a problem. So you want to make sure everything is squared. You'll hear people say all the time in quilting, square things up. And so I'm just gonna attach these pieces. Remember now, we have three, so you're going to attach all of those to one. And again, I'm checking to make sure my seams are laying flat so we don't have any hiccups when we do the interfacing. And again, if you need more light, this little light switch from Madame Sews is really great. Just helps put more light underneath there. Okay, so you're gonna iron the entire piece. We're not gonna put it on the interfacing yet. Okay, we're gonna divide it in half, and then we're gonna go ahead and make sure everything is squared up. Because here's the thing, you guys, fabric shift. When you sew it, when you iron it, it's gonna shift some. Um, so remember we said we had a problem. So we ended up cutting, we had some extra fabric, which we ended up loving this, squared it up, and then divided it in half. It's folded in half. And then we're just going to do a 3-inch square or 3-inch strip. Um, to add there. And again, if you don't love the solid, just add 2 more squares, one on each side. So I did iron that down, just making sure my seams are all really good. And I'm going to sew this right sides together. I have a little bit left of a tail on both ends, so a little bit of excess just to help us make sure that everything turns out good. Okay, so you're going to iron this again, and then you're going to be ready. We're getting close to putting this on the interfacing. So you can see here, now we know that we have enough. We have enough. And so we're going to, I just wanted to make sure it fit. So you can see if you added, 2 on each side. I did fold the interfacing in half to just find that center, and I'm using a marking pen. Those disappear when you put heat to it, so you won't ever see that. And then did the same thing with this piece. I found the half in there, just to make sure that, everything lines up like you want it to line up. Okay, just makes it a little easier. So you want to follow the directions on your interfacing. Okay, every interfacing is a little bit different. I would say you want fusible interfacing. There's a new one that I found that I am loving that feels more like cotton fabric. So we'll make sure you guys have the link for that. But you're just going to go through, I've sped this up, so you're going to just add it to your interfacing. And now we're going to quilt. Okay, quilting is just adding a decorative stitch. So we looked at a ton of different stitches. We decided to do a zigzag, and so we're just going down each little line, and just making it just adding a little bit of flair to it. Okay, you have a long arm machine, you could do any sort of design. It really is up to you of what you want to do. And if you're giving it as a gift, honestly, nobody cares what type of stitch you did. Okay, now I'm going to trim it up again. Okay, we talked earlier about, when you sew and when you iron. Same thing when you put interfacing on. Your fabric may shrink a little bit. Things just need to be trimmed up a little bit. Isn't that cute? And then you're going to cut out your notches, okay? Now, we waited to do this. I waited to do this because I wanted to make sure all the pieces fit. Make sure that you had enough for each side of it and all the stuff, okay? I just found it was easier to do it this way when you're piecing things together, okay? You don't have to do that with the lining, but for this one where it's all types of different squares, you want to wait and do the notch, the very last thing, okay? Okay, so here's the interfacing. This is the interfacing that we picked, okay? So you're going to cut out a pattern with this, okay? And so again, I've put it on the fold, and you're going to just line it up, okay? And then go ahead and pin it so it stays in place. It just makes it easier. I did cut out the pattern using cardstock, so a heavier paper. It just helps it do easier. Because you're not putting all different squares, you can go ahead and cut out those notches, and then you're just going to cut all the way around that, okay? So you should have one continual piece when you're done, okay? You can see it's folded on that, and you're just getting that inner lining piece. So now you're going to put your lining on your interfacing, okay? Remember, we didn't cut out a notch, right? So that's why you're seeing that. So you can go ahead and take out the notch, okay? I just find it's easier to do it. We did use a heavy interfacing just because this is an everyday bag. It's used quite a bit, and so, it's totally up to you, but I like the heavy interfacing. And again, you're going to follow the instructions, for your interfacing. Okay, I did pin that in place just because. Now you're going to add your zipper. So one little trick that I've learned is if you take a little bit of glue or glue stick and put your zipper down using that, it helps everything stick. So nothing shifts when you're putting your zipper on. Okay. Now, I would 100% tell you to pin it. Okay, just try to keep everything in place. So you kind of see here what it's going to look like after the fact. Okay, so we're just doing one side. I'm using a zipper foot. Should have come with your machine. If not, you need to get one off Amazon. It just helps you be able to not run over the zipper teeth. Okay, if you do that, you'll tear up the zipper and you'll tear up your machine. Okay, so look, I've sped this up, but you need to go really slow if you haven't done a zipper in a while. Okay, now if you're a zipper pro, go fast. But if not, take your time. Okay, this is not a race. So take your time and just go really slow. The zipper foot helps you get right up to the edge so that you're right there next to those zipper teeth. Okay, so you can see here, one side's done. Okay, now I'm going to do the other side. And again, I'm just using some fabric glue. You could also use a fabric, just a glue stick, like an Elmer's glue stick. Okay, it just helps it stay in place. So you're going to put that lining down. There's a lot of material at this point. Okay, you're going to see that. And so you're going to flip it over and bring to where your right side of your outside lining is in. Okay, again, I'm going to pin that just because it doesn't stay together. And pins tend to work better than clips on this. So I'm going to take it back to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew that section. Again, using that zipper foot. Okay, just making it easy to get really, really close to those teeth without tearing anything up. So you're going to go in and just get close. Okay. And then you're going to iron open that seam. Okay. So you can see here it's laying flat. And you just want to iron that open. It's a pretty thin seam. So just be careful. You see here I burned myself a couple times. Okay, so now you're going to sew. You're going to go all the way across the tops, but you're going to leave a space on one end, okay, about a 2-inch. Just make sure that you're really getting these seams down. You may need a zipper foot depending on your machine, or a walking foot, sorry. So you're going to do both sides, okay? You can see there's an opening at the bottom. We're going to make a boxed corner. So just take your time, okay? So this was a little repeat there. So now you're doing a box corner. You're just going to take the corners and you're going to bring them together, okay? And you're going to like hold them down a little bit, finger press a little bit, put a pin in there to kind of hold it in place. And then you're going to sew across that on a 1/4 of an inch, okay? And don't forget to backstitch when you do that because this is important in this little part, okay? Now I did serge mine just to give it a little bit more structure, but you don't have to. Okay, so remember that opening that you had? Now you're going to start to pull everything through that, okay? Now look, this is going to take some patience, okay? You're seeing it sped up. This took me forever to pull through, okay? It's a lot of fabric, so just take your time. That's one reason why I love having a bone folder is because I can kind of push things through. If you don't have a bone folder, you could use chopsticks or the edge of a scissors. Just make sure you're not poking through your fabric. But you can see here, so that's my lining, right? So I've got that through, and then I'm going to push it through again so that the outside of the bag is showing. Okay, so it really does take just a little bit of practice there. The other nice thing about the bone folder is that it kind of pushes through those little corners to where, you know, things can get kind of stuck and stuff. Okay, so you have a little opening where you've pulled all that through. So you just want to go back to your sewing machine and close that up. Okay, if you need to iron that to keep it down, you can do that. But it's just a little bitty stitch. And then you can finish it off by taking your zipper foot again and going on the outside edge of that zipper. It just kind of gives it a finished, polished look, okay? You just want to make sure that your fabric's laying flat. But you can see here that zipper foot helps you get really close to the edge without going
So
over.
here's your completed bag. If you have any questions, you can ask in the Facebook group or send an email.